We started reading about Marc Chagall, and we've looked at some of his artwork. Remember that the key things that we want to keep in mind when we're creating our own artwork inspired by Marc Chagall, that we are creating a dream for our future. And I don't mean a dream like I had a dream about ducks in space and I want to draw that. I mean a dream for your future. Like, I want to live in a really big mansion when I grow up. Or when I get older, I want to visit Paris. Or I want to be a veterinarian. So think of a dream you have for your future. I want you to write it in a sentence. So, my dream for the future is, and then write your dream down. Alright, so I've written down my dream. My dream for the future is to be an author illustrator. On the other side, I'm going to start sketching out what I want to put in my picture. In addition to drawing you in your future, you also want to add in some funny, silly, dreamlike things, like Marc Chagall flying over his hometown, or something like a giant chicken that they're riding when he and Bella get married. Something you wouldn't normally see. Think about things from your life right now and maybe add some of those elements into your picture. If it's going to be inside or outside, there will be a line of some kind, either for the ground and the sky, or if it's inside the floor and the wall. In this case, I'm going to make a desk, and this will be the wall behind it. You can see my line isn't exactly straight for a desk, but that's okay. This isn't supposed to look completely normal. I need a neck first, and then my body. I'm going to make a rectangle. Coming out from the rectangle, I have my arms. This becomes my shoulders, these two. And right at the corner is where it turns into arms. I'm going to have my arms stretched out, but you can have your arms in different positions. Now, we should not have one line for our arms because our arms aren't made of sticks. I need a second arm to come out. Now I have all of these lines cutting up my body that I need to get rid of. I am going to keep the line for my circle head because that's my chin. Next, I need some legs. So if this was my shirt, my legs would be down here. And my legs are going to kind of be spread out as well. Now, you could do a dress, or you could do pants. If it were pants, you'd just keep it like this. If you wanted a dress instead, you would simply add a line over top of your legs. And then get rid of that. If you wanted it to be, now this looks like a skirt and a shirt. If I really wanted it to be a dress, I would also go to that line as well. Don't forget a neckline for your shirt or your dress. And I'm adding short sleeves, so it's really just a line. And then I can make it a little fancier. You could do long sleeves, any kind of sleeve. Now I need my hands and my feet. So near the end, I want my arms to get a little skinnier. And then I'm going to make a circle, because our palm is actually in a circle shape with ovals coming out for each of my fingers. So this is my palm. I can then have my hands stretched out with fingers. Now they could be spread out like that. I could draw a hand from the side where I just have my thumb here, and then my fingers are all kind of together there. So it looks like it's from the side. You wouldn't see all your fingers, you'd only see some of them. And then I can get rid of those circles. Now if while you're erasing your circle you end up erasing a little bit of your fingers, that's okay. You know where it is now. All you gotta do is retrace it or redraw that one little section. If you don't like one little thing about your hand, should you erase the whole thing? No. You just erase what you don't like and change it. Alright. So now I'm gonna add some details. Oh, you know what I forgot before I should start adding details? My legs. So this leg looks a little thick. I'm gonna make it a little thinner. And for my feet, it's kind of the same thing. This circle is kind of where my heel is. So if my foot is from the side, we'll start with that circle, and then I'd have kind of a soft triangle for my foot. Again, that's really big. And if I'm not happy with the shape of my leg, I don't have to erase the entire leg. Just erase what you don't like. That's good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Erasing my circles, and I can decide what I want for my shoes too. If I have tennis shoes, I think I'm going to have boots on. Now, think about your hairline. If you do need a mirror, I can get you a mirror so you can look at your hair and what your face looks like. All I'm doing is making a couple lines to the side because I have bangs and hair coming down long on either side of my face. Now you can see where my head is. I'm making my hair come out a little bit more because your hair grows out of your head. It actually springs up higher than your scalp. For my eyes, I'm using a happy face and a sad face put together. And a little L shape for the nose, an M for the mouth. Although if you want a simple mouth, you can just use a line like a happy face. Now if you're doing a boy haircut or a shorter haircut, there's different hair things you can do. So I'm going to show you just a couple today. So if you have really short hair, drawing, look at your bangs. Sometimes your hair stands up instead of falls down. So you would have hair coming up like this. Make sure to make it into a shape. Don't forget your ears, if you can see your ears. And then you can get rid of the top part of your head line because your hair is taking the place of that. If you have braids or a ponytail or something, you might have your hair pulled back. So I would have my lines going to the back of my head. And then you might see a ponytail from the side. If you have bangs, add your bangs on top. You can make them a shape. This is getting really low. For braids, braids are tough, but if you have short ones like in cornrows, what I always do are lines first, how many ones you have, and then the simple thing to do is to make circles that are right next to each other, because when they're really close in rows, it starts to look like braids. And you could have them coming down the side. If you have a nice, really big braid, again, you might have lines coming back for your hair. Make sure your hair comes up over your head. And a big braid I would do in 2 lines, like this, if you want to get very fancy. So, like parentheses, back and forth, just a C and a backwards C. Experiment with your own hair. Most of these are simple shapes or lines. Just look at the direction your hair is going in the mirror and draw your lines going the same direction. Alright, this week I want you to practice drawing yourself. How you're going to want it to look in your picture, because we're going to need to draw this again on the big paper. If you get finished drawing yourself, think about the dream that you're going to have about your future. And mine was to be an author illustrator, so maybe there's a pencil floating nearby me. I might be writing something. Maybe, because I want it to look more like a dream, I could have some lines coming up so it looks like the book is letting me fly. Maybe there are some books floating in the sky with me. I'm using my 3D knowledge of those shapes that we learned about Wayne Thiebaud. If we did that lesson, we're using parallel lines to create rectangular three-dimensional shapes. Now, is this enough for my whole composition? No. I might want to put some art stuff down on the table. Maybe I have a cup of water somewhere. Maybe there's some paintbrushes. So maybe I'm going to make a picture, artist palette, that I'm going to use in my story. An author illustrator is a writer and an artist. Maybe I could even write something, but if you do write something, don't make a label. Make it a part of your artwork, or make it have something to do with the picture itself. Maybe on my desk there might be some grass growing. That would make it more dreamlike. Now your picture doesn't have to be mine. Please don't do my dream. This is my dream for the future. I want you to come up with your own dream for the future. So think about something you want. I had a friend say that he wanted to be a scientist, and he drew himself in a big lab, and there were bottles and test tubes all over the place, and some of them were flying in the air. He was creating some really cool creatures, and there was like a little thing kind of like making a small explosion on one side because it was like overflowing over here. I had another friend who wanted to be an artist in Paris, so he drew himself inside with all his artwork around him, with an easel sitting, and then there was a big window, and in the window you could see the Eiffel Tower, which is something that's a big symbol in Paris. And he even had himself wear a little beret, like the people in France have, like that. So it looked like he was dressed for being in Paris. So think about what you want. It could be the house you want to live in, but think about your whole picture.